Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Creepy Tales and Urban Legends. Uh, yeah, I've been kind of gone for a little bit here, so yeah, I'm ready to do another one. Um, this is going to be a little bit different from what I usually do, but I think this is going to be a pretty good episode. Hopefully, everybody will enjoy it. Uh, hmm. The topic I want to talk about today is, yeah, this kind of falls into the area of urban legends. We're going to be talking about snuff films. Now, snuff films, it's like unless you've been living under a rock, I think, pretty much what a snuff film is. But just for somebody who might not know what a snuff film is, supposedly a film where somebody is murdered for real and then they film it. And, this has been kind of like a legend that's been circulating for decades. So, I mean, pretty much ever since, motion picture was invented. And the thing is, though, it's like it's kind of hard now. It's kind of hard to know if because people talk about that. Do snuff films actually exist? Well, let me put it this way. I feel like with snuff films, if somebody said, hey, check this out, this is a snuff film, and if you do have real snuff films, actually, if you watch videos like um, like you watch, Al Qaeda videos and things like that, where or videos of people being beheaded or uh, public executions or somebody in foreign countries, somebody steals and because of that they get their hands cut off and you see that things like that. Like for example, this here, okay, death, the final journeys. I just reviewed this on my channel like last week and yeah, this could definitely be considered snuff because it's, showing, you know, footage of executions. It's showing, people in a burning building. They don't want to be burned to death, so they leap to their death, things like that. So, yeah, so you got that sort of thing going on. But yeah, this could definitely be considered a snuff video. But for the longest time, people wondered, did such a thing actually exist? And my thought on that is like nowadays, the thing about snuff videos for me personally, I think it would be exactly the same thing about if, as far as like paranormal videos. I mean, get on YouTube and there's like a zillion, paranormal videos on there, all claiming to be real. And for me personally, this is just my personal opinion, but for me personally, the way I feel about it, I think, even if we could have watched one and we'd never even know the difference. It's the same thing like with haunting videos, like I said, with paranormal videos. You could have, see, that's the thing. Everybody wants to see that one video that is going to, really be the definitive proof that ghosts exist, you know? But here's the problem. You got so many people now, they know how to use camera tricks, they know how to do this and that and the other thing, and they know how to fake it, and they know how to fake it pretty well. Some videos don't fake it well at all, but some of them do. They fake this stuff really, really good. So, and so that's the thing. We could have watched, that's the way I feel about it. It's like when I'm sitting there watching like paranormal videos on YouTube and stuff, it's like I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, you know what? I could have watched a dozen real videos of real ghosts caught on tape, but I'd never know. And the reason why I'd never know is because, there's so many of them on there, and then you come to find out, well, a lot of them do get faked. So, and I feel the same way pretty much about snuff films. It's like, um, you know, like I said, you could tell, like when you get like the Al Qaeda videos or like, drug cartel videos or things like that, you can tell when that stuff's real. And you can tell it's, because everything is happening in camera and there's no way for them to fake it. Um, I've seen videos where, like somebody is being beheaded and they're doing it slowly. They're taking a knife and there's no way for the camera's not cutting away. There's not any way they could put, a fake head and there's no way for them to trick you. So that's when it's real. But and that's the thing. A lot of these, it's like you could tell if it was real or not real is when they cut away from something. And now we're going to talk about a couple of movies that you know have the reputation for being snuff films, and these come pretty close. But over time, they have been pretty much debunked. And the main one that everybody always talks about is Faces of Death. Now, Faces of Death, back when this came out in the 1980s on video, and This was it. Everybody was convinced this was real. Everybody was convinced, everything you saw in this movie actually happened. If somebody got killed, it's because they genuinely got killed. There was no cheating or any of that kind of stuff. It was all about showing real footage, real crime scene footage, things like that. But over time, this movie got debunked, you know, that the director admitted, he finally admitted that, yeah, some of the scenes were, simulated. They were, replicated to kind of give like a, to give a documentary feel. But ultimately, some of the scenes in there were staged. They were faked. And even like, I think it was from Friday the 13th, part three, I want to say. But even a special makeup effects artist, emerged and admitted that, the effects in the movie were not real, or the killings in the movie were not real. They were effects that he staged and things like that. And so ultimately, over time, this one here has been kind of debunked as, the definitive real snuff movie. But for the longest time, this movie was, I even remember being a little kid, and my mother was, she was all like, there's no way in hell you're going to be watching this. No way, you know. So, yeah, so as a kid growing up, I was told I could not watch this. This was like the one thing I could not watch, but I've seen it, so, and yeah. So, but you could tell that's what they've done. They've, blended some fake footage with some real stuff, and ultimately that's what you got. So it's like, yeah, you could understand how people could buy into the fact that everything you saw in this movie was real. But when the director himself, may he rest in peace, but when the director himself, John Allen Schwartz, when he admitted that some of the stuff was staged and it was fake and everything, and then special effects artists coming up saying they did do special effects for this movie, there you go. What more proof do you need? But for the longest time, for the longest time, this was the proof that snuff films did exist. And you actually have a movie called Snuff, where, supposedly the last act of the movie is supposed to be a real murder taking place. But unfortunately, it's like, if you watch that movie, you could tell. You can definitely tell it's fake. That one there doesn't really hold up and stuff. So, but, and then you got movies like 8mm. Of course, that's a Hollywood film, so it's not real. But we're going to get to the one that you really, really pushed the envelope and made everybody think that a snuff film was actually made, and one that really existed. In 1980, we had Cannibal Holocaust come out. Now, this movie, um, this is interesting. This is one of. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, hang on a second. I'm back. Stupid ass me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me about that. I really screwed up, but yeah, I had Cannibal Ferox, but actually, I think people kind of thought this one was pretty close too. But the movie really is from 1980. It's Cannibal Holocaust, and this was a movie that everybody really did think that was a snuff film. And this is one of those things. Like, if you watch the movie, it is disturbing. It is graphic. And it's very well done. It's very well staged. The scenes where you think the people are being murdered for real, it's very well done. The way it's staged, the way they did the effects, things like that. This movie really does make you feel like what you're seeing is real. And this is one of those movies. Honestly, even if you don't want to watch the movie, one thing you ought to do is check out the bonus features on here. Even if you don't want to watch the movie, watch the bonus features, because this is one of those movies where everything surrounding the making of the movie and the release of the movie and everything is just as interesting, if not more so, than the movie itself. The story is very basic. You have this group of and this is the movie that pretty much kickstarted it's kind of like the grandfather of the found footage genre that horror fans know so well today. But this is the movie that pretty much started it all, man. I mean, this one here is like you the story is pretty basic. You have this group of filmmakers. They're going to document a tribe in the Amazon, and then they never return. So a professor, he's taken to the jungle, and he gets a guide, and they go into the jungle, and they find out that this tribe basically are cannibals, and ultimately the film crew was murdered, and they were eaten and things like that. And then they bring back the footage, they're able to, but see, the professor, he, goes in and he's very respectful of the tribe, and he, treats them well and everything else, and he does what they want him to do, and he's able to get the footage and take it back. Well, he gets the footage back, and then it's discovered that the documentary crew, they went into the jungle and they did horrific things, that they staged things because they were there to make a documentary, and just not enough exciting things were happening, so they wanted to go ahead and they wanted to fake this stuff and make it look like all this kind of stuff is really going on and everything else. And like, and then they're showing footage of them abusing these members of the tribe. Like, one of them is shot in the leg, and they go in there, and like, there's a little pig, and they shoot the pig, and then they burn down their village, and all this other kind of stuff. And they're raping women in this tribe and things like that. And ultimately, the tribe has enough, and they decide to go full on attack on these filmmakers and stuff. And ultimately, they end up getting the filmmakers, and just slaughtering them and killing them and eating them and all this other kind of stuff. And this movie is, like I said, if you watch this movie, you really, really got to have a strong constitution for this kind of thing, because, if you're weak stomached, you're not going to be able to take this. But this is the movie that really, really could have made you think that it was real. And at the time, like I said, this movie was so interesting. You watch the documentary. The director, Ruggiero Diodato, sorry. He decided he was going to try to make it look as real as he could. And his whole inspiration for this movie came from the fact that he was disgusted by censors and everybody talking about what people could see in movies and what they can't see. But then you look on the news, and there's horrible things going on in the 6 o'clock news every night, and hearing stories about like documentary filmmakers and news reporters and stuff like that. If they don't have a story, they'll invent one. And so that's what got him to make this movie. And so he goes, makes a movie, and one of the things that he ends up doing is now, one thing I'm going to say is, like, even though, now, if you're an animal lover, you're going to hate this movie with a passion. I'll tell you that right now. Because now, while the actors in the movie were not killed for real, if you watch this movie, you see an animal get killed, that happens for real. There's a part where they completely, they behead a turtle and disembowel it and cut it all open and cook it so they can eat it and everything. What was it, like a mongoose? I think they kill mongoose, snakes, all kinds of things. So yeah, so the animals, unfortunately, if you watch this movie, if you see an animal get killed in this movie, that happens for real. So there's animal snuff in this movie, maybe not human snuff. But the thing is the movie was done so well, and then apparently Diodato got the cast members to sign an agreement that they would not take an acting job for a year, for at least a year, until, after this movie was released. So, the movie comes out, they could not take an acting job for a year. So they could not be in another movie or TV show or anything. So, and that was the thing. And then ultimately this movie started getting around, and it started playing in different countries. This thing got banned like you wouldn't believe, because everybody thought what they were seeing was real. And this movie was so real to the point of the British government, and British censors, they made him appear in court. They charged him with murder, the director Diodato. They were going to charge him with murder and everything, and he had to prove that the actors were not killed, and he had to show evidence that, like for this example of the woman being impaled, he had to show evidence that the woman was not actually impaled. But I don't know if he brought the girl in herself, but he showed how the effect was done. That basically it was a pole with a bicycle seat on it. She sits on the seat. They put a fake steak out of her mouth and fake blood in it. But everybody, that's the thing. This movie is, when it comes to movies made theatrically, this is about as close to a snuff movie as you're ever going to get, as far as like theatrical movies are done. So it's kind of like neck and neck between these two here. So, but both of these, you found out that the people were not really killed in the movie, for one thing. But you find out all kinds of interesting things about the making of this movie, the way Diodato really, push the actors and things like that. And then ultimately, there's a story on here where there's a scene where the guy and the girl are going to have. It's written in the script that the guy and the girl are going to have sex, and then they decide, well, it's going to be simulated, and the girl thought, well, this is going to be too complicated, and she told the guy, just go ahead and have sex with me. Go ahead and have sex with me. He'll film it and everything else. But the guy said, no, I'm not going to do that because I have a girlfriend. I want to be loyal to her. And ultimately she took offense to that. And she, had a grudge against him for the rest of the shoot. And it lasted for many years because she took it personally when he refused to have sex with her on camera. But she said, you know what? It's going to be too hard to fake it. Just do it. Go for it. So anyway, so there's all kinds of interesting. So yeah, I mean, even if you don't want to watch the movie, at least check out the bonus features. That is interesting enough on its own. But but anyway, yeah, going back to like what I was saying before. Honestly, it's like now we have like news footage of executions and things like that, and assassinations and suicides and things like that. All this kind of stuff. Now you could see it on there. So it's like I think pretty much snuff films are kind of a myth anymore. But the thing is always like if somebody did go out and if a guy goes out, you know, abducts another guy, brings him home, shoots the guy, films the whole thing, shooting him and everything else, and then puts on it says it's real. The problem is like now we've been in this ocean of media so long now that it's like even if you see it for real, you're not going to know. And your first instinct is going to be to doubt it. And it's the same thing, like I said, with haunting videos. I mean, I've seen some that I've seen haunting videos that look incredibly compelling. And then, you come to find out, well, some of them were faked. So it's kind of like, that's the downside. You kind of wish everybody would stop making the fake stuff. So it's like when something real does emerge, we would have that definitive proof and people would know once and for all, are snuff movies real? And we would know the answer to it. And the same thing like with, haunted ghost videos and stuff, it's like, but it is what it is and we can't change that. But I just thought it was an interesting topic. So even though this episode of Creepy Tales and Urban Legends kind of turned a little bit more into a vlog, I think. But anyway, though, I just wanted to go ahead and talk about that because that is something of an urban legend, is snuff film. So I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about. So anyway, that's going to do it. So if anybody took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I also hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. There'll be weekly videos posted. And until then, take care, have a good night, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.